So good morning, everyone. I'm Bob Davis, the General Manager of the Steamship Authority. On behalf of the board, which includes Robert Jones, James Malcolm, Peter Jeffrey, Maura Tierney, and Rob Raney, and our port council, including Rob Munier, Nat Lowell, Gordon Carr, Greg Egan, Eric DeWicki, Joseph Solito, and John Cahill, I'd like to welcome everyone to this ceremony. I would now like to invite the Barnstable County Sheriff's Office Honor Guard to perform the posting of the colors. Then I will invite Sarah Sneed to sing America the Beautiful, followed by our national anthem.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesty above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
God of love, who will not let us go, will not let us down, will not let us off the hook. Spirit, closer than breath, we give thanks for all those whose hands and minds designed and built the MV Barnstable. May they be proud of and confident in their creation. We call on a blessing of God upon the captain and crew and all who run and maintain it. May they have your guidance and your steady hand, your composure and your wits. Protect all who serve and ride in her, for they are expressions of your divine nature. May they always be grateful of their transport and treat one another and the crew as the siblings they are. May the seas and skies be always gentle against her hull, and the rain fall as a cleansing. And may she carry her load safely to and from her island home. Amen.
Amen. The commissioning ceremony for the MV Barnstable represents a milestone moment for the Steamship Authority. It's the culmination of the dedication, determination, and hard work of many people, from Falmouth to Capitol Hill, several of whom are here with us today. We expect Congressman Keating momentarily. We have Tom Cahill, Administrator for the Cape Cod Regional Transit Authority. Tom, thank you. Representative Keating and Tom were instrumental in securing federal funds to purchase and retrofit not only the MV Barnstable, but our two sister ships, the MV Monomoy and MV Aquina, which will be joining the Steamship Authority's fleet in the near future. I must also express sincere gratitude to the Steamship Authority Board for approving the purchases back in 2022, and to the Board and the Port Council for their support on this project. I also want to recognize Rick Wingard. Rick, along with Ramona Davis, no relations, submitted the name MV Barnstable in our Name the Ferry contest back in 2022. Rick is here along with Ramona's son, Connor, to help us commission the vessel, and we thank them for a very fine suggestion. Let me, Rick, Ramona. Let me just share with you how we arrived at this point today. Over the past several years, and certainly following COVID-19 pandemic, the population of Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket have grown, requiring modern, reliable freight vessels to serve the expanding need of the islands year-round. While the Steamship Authority is working towards a future of vessels powered by alternative energy, we are a few ways away from realizing this goal with our next newly commissioned construction. In the meantime, the opportunity presented itself 3 years ago in the form of 3 offshore supply vessels, or OSVs, that previously had served the oil and gas industry off the Gulf Coast. The 3 sister ships were being offered for sale by Hornbeck Offshore Services of Louisiana, and as it turns out, they were perfectly suited with some adjustments to meet our needs on the Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket routes. Not only do these vessels represent the most efficient and cost-effective rapid path to upgrading the fleet and to meet the vehicle and freight transportation needs of the island, but their similar design was a huge selling point to us. The identical design of these vessels provides economies of scale throughout interchangeability of the vessels as service needs arise, the inventory of spare parts, and crew training. In other words, it was a great deal. Again, thank you for joining us today. May the MV Barnstable traverse the waters of Nantucket and Vineyard Sounds safely and dependable for years to come, and join the roster of iconic and beloved vessels that have served the Steamship Authority since 1960. And now I'd like to ask Robert Jones, our board chairman, to come to the podium. Bob?
Good morning, all. What a festive occasion. I'd like to thank you for joining us today as we welcome the newest, or new to us, vessel to the Steamship Authority, the motor vessel Barnstable. She has traveled a long way from the bayou of Louisiana to the Gulf of Mexico for conversion in Alabama to reach this new home here, and we are delighted to commission her into the Steamship Authority fleet. As the board representative to its namesake community, I am especially proud of this vessel and will carry the great name of the town of Barnstable, the hub of Cape Cod. For more than a half a century, Barnstable and its village of Hyannis have played a critical role serving as primary mainland port for the island of Nantucket. The Steamship Authority and the town of Barnstable have had a long and productive working relationship, and for this we are most grateful. Barnstable in many ways has become a home away from home for the islanders. The communities are interwoven through the lifeline ferry service provided by the Steamship Authority. whether it be for shopping, a trip, medical appointments, visiting friends and family, or traveling to the nation or world. Hyannis and this very terminal is often the first stop for the off-island adventures. Similarly, Hyannis also has depart point for memorable vacations, visits, and joyful occasions on the island of Nantucket. This is why it's so fitting that this vessel be named the motor vessel Barnstable. May the crew and passengers who sail upon this through Lewis Bay and out Nantucket Sound and eventually around Brant Point now and in the years to come have smooth and calm seas and safe passage. Again, thank you for joining us today at this momentous occasion.
If I may. We'll do the commissioning. We'll do this after. Can we? So, joining the dais here is Representative Keating, along with Senator Sayre. I understand that Representative Keating has a flight he has to make, so we're going to be calling an audible and bring Congressman Keating up to the podium. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. And those of us that don't have coats will know enough to keep our remarks somewhat short. But it is an important occasion for the Steamship Authority, but more than that, for so many people that depend on it. Pleased to be here, joined by so many people, elected officials that are here. My partner that goes back and forth to the islands all the time, Senator Sayre, and also I see Mayor Mitchell's here, Representative Zaros. I think that we have other people coming, so if having just jumped here from off the bus to here, I just want to apologize if I leave anyone out. But, you know, long before I thought I would be a congressman representing this area, I had a house on Martha's Vineyard for over 10 years. And I knew firsthand that the ferry service is just not a way to the islands. It's really a way to the way of life to the islands. It's that important. I remember even being back in the legislature at that time, going early mornings and back and forth and seeing people there in the early mornings waiting for medical appointments, waiting for lifelines that they needed for themselves and their family going back. I remember when there'd be interruptions, what it meant to the local businesses there, because they couldn't get products that were necessary to be there. I remember what it's like in terms of concerns about tourism and the basic economy back and forth to the islands. So the importance of the Steamship Authority ferry service is critical to the islands and to the Cape and the rest of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and to just the millions of people that go there just to be tourists and enjoy the islands and have access to that beautiful land. We had, and interesting enough, a rocky road to some of the funding for this that went out there. And I want to mention and thank Tom Cahere, who did a masterful job really coming to me and talking in the early days that he thought there was a way to get more money by having designated commuter service here. And together, working with Bob Davis and all the elected officials that are here, we were able to get that kind of service that was there. That was extremely important for the lifeline during the pandemic, as it turned out, but also for what we're talking about here this morning. It's something that I think that was ingenious in terms of contemplating it, because indeed, this is a commuter service, and it should have been designated that way by the federal government. A commuter service would be one where 50% of the ridership was there and returning the same day. It wasn't easy to get that kind of designation, as it turned out. It's one that I think we have to mention a couple of people down the road that helped, that worked through this. Steve Tupper being one, and Christy Santori being another, trying to get the statistics necessary to make that happen. We were countered with a federal government that was not always cooperative to something that was a new designation that meant a lot of money, but we were able to get provisional status just at every emergency juncture and get it going. And what it meant is during the whole pandemic, it was $120 million that came here from the FDA to take us through that period. $12 million in emergency funds, just keeping it going during the pandemic, and over $28 million from ARPA funding that would eventually come to play in what we're talking about this morning with the purchase of the renovated, retrofitted ferry service that's here. I think that when you look at we should give thanks probably to the MV Gayhead. It had 35 years of service, mostly service, and a tough time. It had 55,000 passenger trips and 1.2 million, passengers that came through during that period. I mean, it's an amazing lifeline. It's, I guess, being rebirthed to another designated need. These vessels, because of their expense, they never die. They just get refitted and retrofitted, and good luck to the, I think it's Robert Orr that is taking on the new, or the old MV Gayhead. But we're here because, along with some of the other purchases that have occurred over the years, dealing with Woods Hole over the last 15 years and the Island Home, I think what we're celebrating here today really culminates that last step, where we'll start with the Barnstable, then go to the Monomoy, and then ultimately the Aquina in 2026. And I think as you look at this period, this will really provide a period of time where there'll be reliability, where there'll be service that's guaranteed, and this will continue on. It didn't happen by accident. It happened because of a great partnership with all levels of government and authorities, the Steamship Authority working with the Cape Cod RTA, working with the FTA, all working together to try and make this happen. I believe that as we go forward, I think we'll see the benefits of this kind of planning and expense. Nothing is ever easy. We all know that there was escalations because of the price of steel, among other things, that occurred during this trip. But we all know that the voyage is about to be in its last stages. I just want to also mention that it's not just the issue of commissioning a ship that's here, but we have to make sure we continue to work to make a passageway for that ship. So I'm happy to share with you in the Water Resources Development Act that we just had, the WRDA bill, that we're able to get language that I put in that would give ferry status to this. That means that the monies for the dredging and the passageway under the surface that are necessary as well, that will have priority status in terms of trying to capture the over $50 million that's annually given for that. And I think that's something that is important. Lastly, because of the good work of all of the team that's here celebrating here today, we can all also look at, because of that commuter status, $5 million annually coming forth and being used as well. It's a hard voyage that's been here. Everyone here, I know, has been a part of that. It's worked hard for that. But we're here today, ready to finally hit that last stage of that voyage. So to all the people that are dependent on this, to the people on the mainland, so many of them commute there for work, for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, who derive so much from this in terms of its revenue itself, and for the so many people that I serve with in Congress that are taking that ferry back and forth, many of them to fundraise. However, Many of them also becoming aware of what a real treasure the islands are. So congratulations to everyone here. I'm going to have to embark on another kind of transportation. Not always reliable either. That's air back and forth to Washington. But thank you so much for being part of this. Thank you so much to everyone that worked so hard on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman Keating. Next, I'd like to have Robert Jones come back to the podium for the reading of the orders of commission.
On behalf of the board of the Woods Hole, Martha's Vineyard, and Nantucket Steamship Authority, it is hereby ordered that the motor vessel Barnstable be commissioned and placed into service for the purpose of providing transportation of people and necessities of life to the islands of Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket. Thank you.
Will the captain of the MV Barnstable please raise the American flag on the vessel? Thank you, Captain Corbett. It is my privilege and great honor as General Manager to hereby instruct the captains of the MV Barnstable to set their watches and bring the vessel to life. Well done. I'd now like to ask State Senator Julian Sayre to step forward. Julian has worked with the Steamship Authority on a number of important issues and has served as a strong advocate for us in our ridership on Beacon Hill. Senator Sayre.
Thank you, Bob, and congratulations to all the crew and the staff who make this lifeline to our islands run 365. 4 a.m., 5 a.m., whatever the Woods Hole folks say, till, this is a real essential service. And I'm very proud of what we have been able to do, particularly in representing the islands. And I want to recognize especially the islanders who are here. I see a number of my island friends in the audience, especially the Vineyarders. You had a further commute than I did from P-Town getting here. From Chilmark or from Tisbury is no easy feat. But really both myself and Representative Fernandez, who's now Senator-elect Fernandez, have really sought to ensure that we're both ensuring that this lifeline is robust, is running on time, and has the resources it needs to be providing essential services into the 21st century. And really, this ship has been part of that vision, and we certainly appreciate the federal efforts here. But the Steamship Authority is an authority here in Massachusetts, maybe unlike some other transit authorities off Cape, right? This authority is supported by the fare box, right? And this boat is supported by the fare box, and this has been realized by an increase in the bond authorization for the Steamship Authority. This was a Senate initiative that Senator Moran and Senator myself were able to secure in the FY23 budget that raised the borrowing limit for the Steamship Authority by $50 million. So the authority could not just purchase the MV Barnstable, but to purchase 3 identical freight vessels. They're going to have an interoperability. I want to thank Jim Malkin especially for really converting me on the interoperability piece of this. Is really essential, right? So when you have an issue on with one freight boat, right, the ability to have interoperability, where literally the boats have the same layout, right, where the box trucks can fit in the same way, that is really going to assist in efficiency, really assist in the reliability of the authority. And so this would have not happened were it not for the Senate and the legislature's support of this in the FY23 budget. This is also going to give the authority the beginning of the resources that we need to begin to look to a hybrid future and to an electrification future of what we're going to be need to doing to keeping our vessels operating, for years to come, ultimately, not reliant on a carbon-based fuel. So this has really been part of our commitment, yes, to ensure that the ferries are running on time, yes, to ensure that we have reliability, and I really want to thank all of our, the 4 communities we have here, 5, I should say, excuse me, Mayor Mitchell, 5 from New Bedford, right, that are really part of ensuring that that this lifeline continues. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you to the town of Barnstable. It's fitting that this is named the MP Barnstable. And I'm really excited especially to see these other 2 vessels come online so that we have robust, interoperable freight service for years ahead. Thank you so much. And again, congratulations.
Thank you, Senator Nasir. Next, we were going to have, I don't know whether I haven't seen him, Representative Kip Diggs, but I haven't seen in the back. Not seeing him. Next, I'd like to introduce Craig Tamish from the Barnstable Town Council, newly elected as chair of the Barnstable Town Council, to speak.
Thanks, Bob. Good morning. On behalf of the town of Barnstable, I would like to welcome you to Hyannis and to the christening of the motor vessel Barnstable. We are deeply honored to have the vessel named after the town of Barnstable. One of the things that really strikes me about this whole process is the man sitting right here. And, we can talk about the Barnstable, we can talk about the Steamship Authority, but Bob Jones has dedicated his life to this port and to the Steamship Authority. I mean, he's been working on the waterfront for probably 40 years or so. He's been involved with the Steamship Authority for 23 years, and I just think it's so appropriate that Rita and CJ are going to be, is it the godmothers? Is that the proper term of the vessel? And I welcome them here and congratulate Bob and his family for the work that they have done and they have put in for the town of Barnstable, for the Steamship Authority, and for the Port of Hyannis. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to invite Mayor Jonathan Mitchell, the mayor of the city of New Bedford, which is one of our 5 poor communities. We're pleased to have him make his way over the bridges to be with us today. Mayor Mitchell.
Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here today. I've been to commissioning ceremonies before, and so I can speak from experience and say, as great as the speeches will be, the best part of the ceremony is actually the breaking of the champagne across the bow or the stern, as the case may be. So whoever's doing that today, stay limber, because I won't be long in my remarks. I do want to take the occasion to reaffirm the partnership that the Port of New Bedford has with the authority. It's been a very healthy one, a very beneficial one, both for the Port of New Bedford and for the authority. I want to give a shout out to Maura Tierney, New Bedford's representative on the board, who unfortunately couldn't make it today. I also wanted to give a shout out to Gordon Carr, the director of the New Bedford Port Authority. And I want to congratulate everybody for all the hard work and salute Senator Sear and Representative Zaros. Where'd you go, Steve? Right here, sir. Oh, you took keeping my seat warm. Wayward son of New Bedford, by the way. And to thank the board for Bob and everybody, Bob Davis and everybody who, for all of their hard work and making today possible, and of course, Representative Keating. I did want to say just a couple of things, just because this is part of our experience as sort of both an industrial as well as a recreational port. Today's really a reminder of the very core purposes of the authority, right? It is to provide, as we all know, a lifeline to the islands, which is so critical, and it's one that really cannot be established or maintained solely by the work of the private sector. It requires public investment so that not only can the economic benefits of those investments accrue to people on both sides, but also so that people can go about their lives. They can go to medical appointments, they can meet friends, they can commute to work, they can do all these things reliably because we have a system in place that ensures that the boats show up on time and they do it and deliver people and goods safely between the 2 points. And that is, sometimes it's easy to take those things for granted. It's just there, right? But it does require a whole lot of work. And as the folks who are here today can attest, it doesn't happen automatically. You made it happen, and we're pleased to support it from afar. But it's also, and I will just add this one last point, in that way, this boat is public infrastructure. It is functionally a bridge. And we are at a transition right now, and I will hasten to add, I'm not making a political point here, quite the contrary. We're at a transition now in federal administrations, and infrastructure investment should not be a partisan issue. Our hope in New Bedford is a place that has been transformed in the last 10 years because, in part because of public investment in infrastructure. We want all that to continue on seamlessly in the next administration. Infrastructure investment's not a Republican thing or a Democratic thing. It should be something that everybody can embrace and everybody can benefit from. And so this is proof of concept right here, and I just think it's just such a fabulous addition to the fleet and something that will pay off well for everybody for years to come. Congratulations, everybody. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa.
Thank you, Mayor Mitchell. We now have another audible. Representative Zaros is kind enough to say a few words.
Thank you.
Representative.
Good morning, everyone. I'll step in for Rep. Diggs. So Rep. Diggs and I both represent Barnstable. We both also go to the same barber, so I think it fits. I'm proud to be here. I'm born and raised in New Bedford with the mayor. And to be coming from the whaling city to now represent this area with my colleagues, my fellow town councilors in Barnstable where I live, Wayne Kirker, Tony Shepley have a lot to do with this whole marina. So for me, it's a celebration. I also give a shout out to the woman that sang our national anthem. I thought that was beautiful, so thank you. And lastly, I would say to all the workers that worked on this ship, it's hard work, it's special, and I loved your prayer. Think about it, what they have done and what that ship will do. So God bless you guys. Thank you very much for having us today.
Next is speaker is going to be Greg Wagner. Greg is the Chief Executive Officer of Alabama Shipyard in Mobile, Alabama, which is where the MV HOS North Star became the MV Barnstable, as you see here today. The men and women of Mobile got this project through the aftermath of a pandemic, extreme heat, and glancing blows with several hurricanes. Luckily, no alligators followed the boat up. Greg.
Good morning. First and foremost, I want to say thank you very much for having me here today representing the Alabama Shipyard family. This project was very special to us. I want to thank you for entrusting us converting this vessel over. Just as a quick piece of information, I actually was in the oil and gas industry using that vessel to load out pipe to go to Trinidad to go do a pipeline for EOG. So to see it now transform from 2010, 2011, now coming up here to support you, it's amazing. We were talking about hardworking people. We did over 130,000 man hours from Alabama Shipyard employees, and I'm very proud to say we had one first aid case. It's a very dangerous job. It's very hot. I can say I left the Gulf Coast yesterday at 78 degrees, and it is not 78 degrees here today. But no, I really want to say thank you. We have our COO here, Lee Stokes, and his team. We are continuing on with the next two vessels. They're coming along. We had a great opportunity here to do something that's not normally done. In the shipyard, ship world business, normally when you cut out a piece of a ship, it has to be on a dry dock for the whole time. We were actually able to lift it, put it on land for the multiple months, and work on it on land, which is a different opportunity. It was a great project for us. We're continuing on with the Akina as well as the Monomoy. And last comment is really thank you for entrusting us with something that's so important to you in this environment here, and I plan to use the vessel this summer. So thank you very much, and happy holidays.
Next, I'd like to introduce Tom Cahere. His title may be Administrator of the Cape Cod Regional Transit Authority, but for this project, he might as well be called Rainmaker. With his talented staff, Tom was able to work with us to redesignate more than $28 million in federal funds to make the purchase and conversion of these three vessels a reality. Tom.
Well, thank you very much, Bob, and it's a real pleasure to be here and participate in this wonderful day and event. I want to congratulate the members of the board and the Port Council and everyone associated with the Steamship Authority. You know, I'm sitting here thinking of my life and my involvement with the Steamship Authority over the years. I'm a lifelong resident of the Cape. I grew up and born, and actually in college I worked at the steamship parking lot 100 years ago or so. And that was my first introduction to the importance of the steamship, watching people depend on the islands, depending on the service way back when, and then watching it in subsequent years provide great service to so many people that depend on it. Fast forward a few years, I went into the legislature. I served for 14 years as the chairman of the Transportation Committee, which oversaw the enabling legislation. And then I moved on to the executive branch, where I participated on the Blue Ribbon Commission that expanded the board, Bob's board, and Bob's advocacy for Barnstable's involvement along with Martha's Vineyard. So I've had a long history of involvement with the steamship and admired the great work and people that have worked here doing such extraordinary work. And I wanted to point out Bob Davis in particular and Mark Rosem. Those are the two individuals that I've been working with closely over the last several years to make this collaboration come to fruition. We talked about the possibility of generating more revenue into our region, into our Barnstable County region, and we went to FTA and made a case that we should be able to count ferry miles and ferry ridership in some of our formula funds. I don't want to get too technical and lose any of you, but it was a tough fight, and Bob and Mark continued to provide all the information we needed to make the case, and they still were not embracing our idea with great enthusiasm. We enlisted the support of Congressman Keating, and he helped as well to make the case. And of course, my great staff is the one that does all the great hard work, and I come up here and take bows for it, but couldn't do any of it without my CFO, Henry Swiniarski, and Kathy and Deb along with them from my office, who participated in all of all the interaction with the Steamship Authority. So when I got to the Steamship Authority, we wanted to create a multimodal committee that worked with our other partners. We work closely with Cape Air, we work close with Peter Pan, P&B, Steamship, Highline, Murray Scudder. I saw him here today. We do equal amount of work with Highline, and they do tremendous work. And oftentimes, you know, when I was at the state, the MBTA would get beat up a lot for a lot of things. And I always think about the Steamship Authority, and I see day in and day out the great work of the board and the Port Council and others, and all the good work that goes on. And occasionally you hear something bad, and that's what seems to get in the news. But Bob Davis and Mark are the primary reasons that this really came to fruition. They sat down. We told them you're going to have to jump through hoops and do a lot of things that are painstaking. And I think Bob worked 24 straight hours the first day. And even then, it wasn't a done deal. We had to convince the FTA that it was a commuter service. People that went over and back on the same day exceeded 50%. We made that case as vociferously as possible. They still came back and said, you need to do more surveys. We deployed people from my team and others onto the vessels to take surveys. We finally convinced the FTA that it was indeed a commuter service. And Bob is so accommodating with letting our people on the boats, taking surveys without bothering the many wonderful people that travel over to the islands. And then subsequent to that, the FTA called us and said, not only is it a commuter service, but it's going to be one in perpetuity. So these resources will be coming back to our UZA, another technical term, in perpetuity. So that collaboration has really made working with the steamship and our other partners in the transportation world such a pleasure here in Barnstable County and both the islands as well. So I know it's kind of long-winded, but I wanted to make sure that the people that really made this happen were acknowledged for their great work. So thank you for allowing me to say a few words, and I look forward to the rest of the day. Thank you.
So last but not least, our last speaker is Mark Amundson. Mark is our Director of Engineering and Maintenance. His presence here is a surprise because he's been spending so much time down in Alabama. His family will attest to that, overseeing this project. We're glad to have him here, for the time being at least, for this ceremony. So, Mark.
Thank you, Bob. Good morning, everyone. The voyage of the Barnstable began 3 years ago with the vision created by Bob Davis, Charlie Montero, and I. Identifying 3 sister ships in Houma, Louisiana, these new ferries had the capacity to modernize our fleet quickly and cost-effectively rather than a new ship build. The first conversion to Barnstable was a complicated construction project with many moving parts involving a completely new engineered reconfiguration plan and overhaul. To understand the scope, the project embodied the cooperation and intersection of many steamship employees and hundreds of vendors. Quoting the lyrics of a Post Malone song, I had some help. Teamwork makes the dream work. I cannot think of a better example of teamwork than the talent and the hard work of this team contributed to the transformation of the MV Barnstable. From Terrence Keneally for developing all the contracts and executing, Mark Rosem for developing the funding along with Cape Cod Regional Transit Authority, Sven Cruz, Mark Maloney, and Marine Safety Systems consultants for the on-site management of the project, Boris Kurloff for designing the ferry, Captain Jim Corbett, Chief Engineer Sean Barkowski, and Justin Bond for project oversight in Alabama, Captain Paul Hennessy, Zach Lawrence, Will Langloy, Liam Sleen for project management and engineering, Sydney Lagerhead for doing all the logistics, the marketing and the public relations of our marketing team, Sean Driscoll, Ian Nichols, and Sheila Cochran. And special thanks to the Steamship Authority Board and Port Council who believed in this project from the beginning and greenlighting the deal. and Bill Millard for brokering the purchase and sale with Hornbeck Offshore. Thank you to the management of the talented shipbuilders at Alabama Shipyard in Mobile, Alabama. Otherwise, this day doesn't happen. Let's show our heartwarming appreciation to all the people that made this day happen. And ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present our newest ferry, the MV Barnstable. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to ask Rita Jones and CJ Jones, the wife and daughter respectively of Board Chair Robert Jones, to make their way to the stern of the MV Barnstable for the ceremonial commissioning of the vessel with a bottle of champagne. Their walk will be accompanied by the members of the Barnstable High School Band, who provided the wonderful music to welcome you all to the ceremony. Please feel free to watch the ceremony from the platform. Following the champagne ceremony, we'll ask Sarah Sneed to return to sing God Bless America.
We commission thee, the motor vessel Barnstable.
May God bless all those who sail on her.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairie, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America,